Alright, so today we're going to take a look at different focal lengths. As you saw from the introduction, it looked like my face was changing shape. And all I was doing was changing my focal length. I started from a wide angle to a very narrow. I think that's the word, narrow. But I'm going to show you how I was able to achieve different looks. And the purpose with this video is so you become aware that you evoke a different emotion depending on what you're using. Now, what you're seeing right now, this is a 16 millimeter, well, it's a kit lens on the Sony a6300, but I'm using 16 millimeter focal length. Since this camera is a, what do you call it? It has an APS-C sensor. There's a crop factor of 1.5. So essentially a 16 millimeter becomes a 24 millimeter. But again, the camera is really close to me, is about a foot away. And usually this is what people use for vlogging because you want to focus on your face and you want the camera to be up close if you're using a mic. So there's different purposes for different focal lengths. With wider focal lengths like this one, you can capture a lot more of the room. And so you don't need a whole lot of space to film yourself, which is great if you only have a small room or you're in a really tight spot. So every focal length has its use and it'll achieve a different look. So let's take a look at the next one. What you're looking at right now, this is the 28 millimeter focal length, which is an equivalent of about 42 millimeters. Now I had to back up the camera just slightly, but now you can see less of the background. If you think of our eyes like lenses, our eyes have a 50 millimeter focal length approximately. So this is a little bit more natural to the eye. I don't know if you can tell, but it feels like my face got filled up with a little bit of air and it expanded a little bit. So what you're looking at right now, this is the 50 millimeter focal length, which is an equivalent of 75 millimeters. This is my favorite one. If you've ever watched any of my videos, this is what I use all the time. If you're doing any kind of corporate work or you're trying to make your video look more professional, then 50 millimeter is a great focal length. Take in mind that with the 50 millimeter, you also need more space because the camera needs to be further away from you. With the 16 millimeter, the camera was closer to me, so I need less space to film. So make sure you have the space if you're gonna use this lens. Okay, so what you're seeing right now, this is the 75 millimeter focal length. I'm actually using a zoom lens that goes from 75 to 205 from Vivitar. This is a Vivitar lens, but zoom lenses are heavy. This is why I end up not using this because it puts a lot of strain on my adapter. But again, it makes your face look better. This is what photographers use most of the time. They use 75 millimeter lenses and above. Just because it improves the facial features. I just wanted to give you a quick comparison of the different focal lengths because depending on what you use, you're going to achieve a different result. You're going to evoke a different emotion from the viewer. So you have to be conscious of what you're going for. As you saw, if you use a wider focal length, it's more comical, more personal. Or if you want something more corporate looking or more professional, then you use something like a 50 or 75 millimeter. Again, if you have any questions or if I forgot to mention anything, go ahead and ask away in the comment section and I'll try to get to those questions as best I can. I want to thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one.